We texted the birthday.
Yeah, there's supposed to be
Okay. All right, guys, we're live.
Are you gonna mark your foot or?
No, that's like the.
Session.
Okay, are we good?
And I feel like cricket.
Just faithful.
All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first general body meeting of the 54th session. So we will be starting now, first of all, with roll call.
Musa,
Here.
Mo,
Here.
Rafa,
Here.
Yanu,
Here.
Simi,
Here.
Julia, Alex,
Here.
Shivan, Emily,
Here.
Amira,
Mine's there.
Aisha, Eddie, Ishika,
Here.
Lola,
I think it's
Sophie, Andrew, Nina,
Here.
Cecilia,
Here.
oh, Elena, is that what I
Here.
say? Am I saying that right?
Yes, Elaine.
Thais, Khalil,
Here.
Samyang,
Here.
Stanley. Jocelyn,
Which one?
Leela Cruz.
Yes.
Aiden De Silva.
Yo.
Tonvi, Pablo, Melinda, ZK, Pavant, Tanisha, Pierce, Andrew, Jasmine, Aditya, Catherine, Miriam, or Mariam, Moralake, Simon, David,
Yo, what's up?
Kylan, Minna,
Hi.
Pablo, Taya,
Yeah.
Jack, Asra, Aiden,
Here. On alphabet.
Jeffrey, Chinmay, AJ, Ariane, Aiden, Jocelyn, Vic, Nicole, Alexa,
Yeah,
no, Sophia.
All right, is there anyone that we did not call? Are there any members of the public present?
No more vote time.
Nope. All right, we will now move into 10-minute open forum with preference given to members of the public. Are there any issues or topics for open forum at this moment?
Motion to allow open forum?
Motion, are there any seconds? All elected members in favor of adopting the forum, please raise your hands. Okay, great. We're punching activity. No, we're punching.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, great. So before we begin, could you guys please fill out the 54th session feedback form? It's right over there. I'll scroll down. Okay, you can go ahead. All right, great. We do want to make sure that the next session is the best one, and in order to do that, we do need to get your feedback. So please just take 5 minutes to fill out the form, very short.
So pull up your phones.
You can pull up your
Don't be
phone.
shy.
Tech is fine right now.
Well, that's it. Wait, point of order. If you weren't here in the 53rd session, like, should we still fill this out, provide some feedback on what we want out of the UA?
Not sure.
Sure, and like suggestions. Actually, no, don't fill it out, so it doesn't like.
Never mind, don't go. If you have feedback, come to me.
Stand, tell me your shit, girl. Let no one talk you.
What? If someone.
Dang, sure. And the name.
His name is Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking bomb this shit.
Wait.
How long is this gonna be open for, like, in terms of time? Cause I do have a lot of
For
feedback.
5 minutes, so.
Wait,
Got it. Go.
technically till the 12th, but you should fill
The
it out.
12th? Okay, perfect, thank you.
Wait, but put it on your GCal somewhere.
Cause we know, I wanna bomb the initial one and then I wanna give a more sincere actual one.
We appreciate your feedback. PR training.
When's it UAHR is UAHR one of the working groups?
You wanna be our.
We're gonna have HR gonna be the first to be like
Executed, wow.
Talking, but not a lot of clicking. Fill out the form.
I did not say anything.
He actually just like, okay, wait, so we're gonna have 2 more minutes, just fill it out, so.
I really hope that turned on.
How was your day? How was your day? I didn't see you after we got there.
It's good.
I will say, I do think class four is. So, it's not.
Next year, please, when we send emails to class, please respond.
Oh, did you go?
Yes.
Do I just say that?
Is it too late?
Why do I feel that way? That we're responsive?
We are live.
That class four is better than you.
I feel like I'm daily asking.
It is good.
Wait, I think what I really especially joining on sport, back to like people in my grade, being an upperclassmen, especially not to have a lot of opportunities to interact with them as consistently as freshman and sophomore year. So like class four is a nice way to see those faces that like, I may have seen a lot of freshmen and sophomore year, and that I didn't as much this year, and it's a nice way to get back as well.
It's like, cause some of the.
Pep club. Pep club.
Yeah.
Urge that Stevens
And
area
then,
doing some companies for free, so we'll be looking into that. And singing.
But it was so fun.
Oh, the giveaway.
Yeah. Coffee today.
I would have came to the, I unfortunately have 2 midterms of presentation.
Yeah, you have it back, yeah.
3 days. And that's why I'm leaving in,
After you fill out the form,
no, I'm gonna leave in like 5 minutes.
after you fill out the form.
5 minutes is not enough time for all the things I wanna say about the 53rd session.
By the way,
We're so glad that you feel so positively about the UA, that you wanna spend a lot of time writing about it.
Guys, how's there one response?
Yeah.
I don't
I
really
can count like 20 people right
No
now.
Wi-Fi spotty in here, like.
It's in the agenda if you wanna go back and look at it, but please do make sure to do it, because we really do wanna like provide the best.
Oh, yo, why is this shit sweet?
This is after.
Also, we have less.
I think we already did.
Wait, right.
Okay, do you want?
It's not Sophie Welch.
Yeah.
The name, yeah, they're definitely going with each other. Oh, nice.
Like a little session.
So I was told to put everything.
Yeah. Just keep it.
Why is everything?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit, I fucked up.
I wrote Aiden Carroll for every single like problem section of the form, and I accidentally wrote Aiden DeSilva for one.
Right. I could.
Wait, that would be fun.
Awesome. Like. I love this kid, when I say heck.
Oh, wait, that would be.
I've been in this hoodie all day, dude.
Oh, that's on the live stream.
Like this is legitimately trenches. This is like the worst I've ever felt.
Why is this so bright red?
That's what they fucking made it like, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
For the people that just walked in, could you please fill out the feedback form?
You are not here that session, but.
You should have 2 responses now.
Thank you.
Okay, alright, I hope you all filled out the form. Okay, so now we'll be moving into the presentation.
This room is dead.
Yeah. What's up, everyone? It's great to see so many of you here. But thank you for coming in, even though I know it's very busy. Probably a lot of you guys have finals. First, huge shout out to our new exec and our new cab and our lovely new legal services. Give them a round of applause. Okay. Regarding actual stuff, here are all the, let me change this. Here are all the meetings. Wait, why is this so late?
She's like great station here on this.
I can't see.
Yeah, she went to you. The mouse phone. Yeah, just go.
That Moynihan train hall. Sydney, are you in Moynihan train hall in New York City?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, here are the meetings I had.
State wasn't torn down to start.
Of note, we met, like, me and Naya and Mo met with Karu and Provost Jackson on the 7th to talk about the ICE resolution follow-up. We're meeting again in May to discuss the next steps. Biggest takeaway is that there's like 2 buckets of changes we can make about ICE. The first are like the easy, simple fixes about like more like focus on allied guards or more ways to clarify procedures. And then there's the more like legally risky ones, which are like how do you send out and name out like undocumented or like green card holding students. And so the first bucket is very down to implement. I think it's likely going to be implemented relatively soon, hopefully before the end of this semester, or before the beginning of the next semester. And the second bucket is a much longer thing that they had to go through a lot of different legal processes. Yeah.
I thought a lot of the heart of the resolution also came from like messaging from the university itself in terms of like, you know, just providing more resources to students that was like pointed towards like dealing with ICE.
Yeah.
Like, cause we were like, back when I was on CAB, we talked about like Delaware's resources and how like they were really comprehensive, not all endorsed by the university, but like still provided. And I thought that's where a lot of the heart of the resolution was in, as opposed to like training procedures.
Well, I think it's both. Like one is clearly naming out like what to do and like the harms, and the second is like how can you actually tangibly fix the issue. The former obviously is a bit more difficult to do legally, so that's why it's taking more time. Okay.
Fair enough.
And I'll let Mo talk about the rest of the UC like UAC and UC stuff. And then I also took a call or interview with, like the Philadelphia Inquirer about open expression. Upcoming meetings, University Council on the 29th. This one I think will be quite a fun meeting if you want to go watch. We'll all be ranting about open expression guidelines. It's at 4 p.m. in Hall of Flags. And then ICE resolution follow-up meeting again. Mo will talk about international outreach. And then executive meeting with the provost for a listening session on the open expression guidelines on the 5th of May. And then I have Council of Undergraduate Deans on the 6th. Any questions on upcoming meetings? Okay. I want to talk through this working group's idea. So one of our goals in exec is to make sure we don't waste the summer. A large part of that is game planning. How can we look to what we can change and like look to what we can make better during the summer? And so there's like 3 broad categories. The first is like on fixing student funding. Namely, this is like where are the gaps in funding? Like how can we work to advocate for the UA to get more funding? How can we see like this specific group? So for example, like performing arts needs more money. How can we work with performing arts in these specific areas? I think actually target those issues and fix them. This working group will focus on all of that over the summer. It's being led by Mo and Simon. The second one is on internal UA reform. This I see as like the most broad-based one. This is like a comprehensive overlook through all the bylaws and also the way in which we do the budget. But also it includes like rebranding. Like, do we need to even change? Like, should we change the logo of the UA? Or like, should we change this specific thing about the UA? So it's a comprehensive look of like everything the UA should change internally, and that's going to be led by Rafa and Yadu. And then the last one is oversight. So specifically on like, are the spending that we're giving out in alignment with the priorities of the UA and other branches? That's being led by myself and Aiden Carroll. I highly encourage you all to join these working groups. If you're interested, the QR code is here. Obviously, I like feel free, like you don't have to do work over the summer, but I think it's a great way to get more involved in the UA, and also it'll really shape a lot of the stuff we're going to be doing into the next session. So hopefully it is of interest to you guys. Okay, any questions on the working groups, the purpose, anything else? Yeah.
You'd also like join them and not necessarily do any work, as in like observe like what's gonna be happening over the summer and like see if it's of interest to you as well. So don't, like Yusuf said, it was equity, like don't feel pressured to like actually do something or like you're scared.
Yep. Okay. Lastly, open expression.
It's like make.
So we had a lot of talks about the guidelines specifically. So I want to talk about like the implementation and how to make the student body aware of these guidelines. Obviously, the timing is quite poor. I think it was probably intentionally poor, given that the deadline is on the 18th. Nobody's focused on open expression guidelines right now. So I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on how we can engage the student body in the easiest way possible for them to also provide feedback. Because I don't think it's realistic to ask them to just like look through a document and then go from there.
Can you briefly summarize the entire thing about open expression that's been happening?
Yeah, okay, so for context, how many of you guys are freshmen and sophomores?
All of us.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Okay, so back in the day, when we were freshmen, like there were the Palestinian encampments, which saw a lot of national media attention, but also a lot of Penn scrutiny on it. Because of that, Penn implemented the temporary guidelines of open expression, which were more restrictive on what you can and cannot do for open expression. Then there was a large crackdown on the encampments, and we've been under those temporary guidelines. Then they implement the new guidelines for open expression, which are, in my opinion, a lot more restrictive than what's been done before. Notable things are, for example, one, like you can't have disruptive like organizing. Two is like you can get in trouble before you post on your social media. Three is like if like a university staff asks you for your ID, you have to show your ID. Like a lot of different things like these that I think make it really difficult to be able to do open expression on campus. I also think it would be helpful if I showed you photos of like to contextualize that time. Let me see this. Hold on.
So I do, just a quick comment on tech. I do understand that we do have a lot of work right now in the semester, but because this meeting is very short and brief, I would strongly recommend like paying attention because this is foundational to how next session is gonna look like. So I would strongly recommend to pay attention.
Okay, so this is in April of 2024. I think you'll notice like the massive scale of this. And then also like police presence was a pretty big thing. But the point being, like, this really influenced a lot of the guidelines we have right now. And I think like students just don't know about it. Also given because half of the campus wasn't here for it. I plan to send an all-school email over reading days about it. But I'm also curious to know like what do you guys think you can do to motivate the student body to like fight against or also provide constructive criticism on the guidelines?
So what is the new thing that they're pushing for now, administration?
Yeah, they're pushing for like an entire new set of comprehensive open expression guidelines, which is like a completely new policies that outline open expression. Yeah,
Can we do like some com about it? Reels or anything that like
yeah.
just brief introduction, what's going on without taking any position and then just saying, oh, if you want to submit your feedback, please do so.
Yeah, I think, so the university council reps have been putting together, like alongside, like from what we discussed with them, a kind of like document of like annotations, similar to like what the DP has done of like, this is what the changes are, this is what you might need to worry about, this is what you might need to highlight. And then that might be a document we want to put out as well. Yeah, but I definitely feel like it's just such an issue that like this is probably the busiest time of year for students, and it's also such a tight deadline. So yeah, so
I'm gonna say if we did comms or real or anything, it would be cool to do like visualizations of like things that could in theory violate the new guidelines. Just so students see that it could be used to like strike down like everyday activities on campus. But if not, you could just kind of include those sort of like situational things and all.
yeah.
It can be like just having a speaker kind of loud and
Right, yeah.
speaker's loud, you're not loud.
This is my like I think like one of the best examples of what would not be allowed. In 1973, there was like a 200-person sit-in to like bring attention to women's rights on campus. This was a 4-day sit-in in College Hall that like actively disrupted all university proceedings. It then led to like emergency like phones being put on campus, better lighting, the creation of the Penn Women's Center. And this is the exact perfect example of like something that would not be allowed in the new open expression guidelines because it is disruptive. And so I think obviously it's also just not like a controversial example either. And you can kind of see like the scale of like this is like what Penn used to be, you know what I mean? And I think we kind of lost that in the past year. So yeah, just out of curiosity.
In all the past meetings you have you been able to glean how open the university would be to even revising these guidelines? Because I feel like that's a sentiment of a lot of students.
Yeah, so I will say when we met with faculty senate, like 80% of the faculty who care about open expression as an issue are heavily against the guidelines. I think this is also seen in like, there were a lot of like rallies outside of Perry House, like a lot of people at the listening sessions. The brutal truth though is like the vast majority of campus, whether that's like some professors or students, like I think are just heavily indifferent towards this because it's very much a non-issue for a lot of students. But I will say like from what we've seen in like UA steering from the other reps and from meetings with like professors and faculty, it seems to be like a collective consensus that like there's at least things in there that people disagree on and that this should not be passed in full. Yeah, Khalil.
Can we, two questions, can we do tabling kind of thing, just like we do today? To raise awareness for that. Second thing, can we lobby Ben to push the line a bit, because that's not working?
Yeah, so we talked to Jackson about, I approached Jackson about this. He did his like, I'll get back to you. So, he'll get back to us. Well, I do think, I have a hope that they'll push back the deadline, just because it also looks bad on them. And like a later deadline lets them get more like productive feedback. And then on tabling, like we can, but like I don't know if people have the time to table right now because it's finals. Oh yeah, and then so there's another idea floated by some of the UC reps that's like we could do some like clothesline events or like some event that like even an info session on like come learn about open expression. So that might be in the works. It's just a balance of like capacity versus interest, you know. Okay. Anything else on open expression? Okay, perfect. That's all from me.
Alright, hello everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Okay, a lot of the meetings are an overlap between Musab and me and a few other people. Rafa and I met with legal services, we met with GAPSA to talk about legal services funding. Realized there's a big disparity in the number of graduate versus undergraduate students asking for help for legal services. So GAPSA was willing to contribute about double their amount for they originally paid for to have the service be funded better and accessible to more students. I met with Rodney to give feedback on SAC and my experience as treasurer last year, and hopefully will be implemented into next year. I met with Penn Benz. This is a broader goal that Musab and I had when we initially ran, is to have a more like mental well-being focus within the UA. And Penn Benz is one of the bigger mental health advocacy groups on campus. So it was a very productive conversation. I'm also friends with the president, so it was very interesting, and hopefully it's somewhat really productive, and when we come back there'll be bigger ideas, but we'll table that to later. Finished a meeting with Musab, UC Prep. Musab and I were at UC Prep. He touched upon the biggest thing, and a lot of the reps were very interested about giving statements at University Council. Given that open expression is a very like important thing, and the proposed guidelines are really not in the benefit of students or faculty or anyone on campus. And then we floated the idea of some sort of like clothesline event on Locust, but if anything is put together in the next few days, we'll reach out to you guys. It'll be fun. And then Musab and I met with Karu and Sharon from VPOL about international outreach. That was me initially reaching out to them, expressing like concerns with the way they work with international students or students from areas of conflict. I don't think that they're doing the best job in terms of outreach to student and being on top of it. So I reached out from a personal experience to them, and they both seemed very willing to listen to our feedback and incorporate some of it into the way they currently do things. So there was that. Excitement with faculty senate, UC steering, that's confidential, but as Musab said, a lot of the faculty were very much opposed to the proposed guidelines of their current shape. And I also think that the admin is willing to push the deadline a bit further. My hopes is that they push it further to like next semester, and they allow for the back and forth between the feedback that we give and their proposed changes, just to make sure that there is a final product that is good for everyone. And then I had my one-on-one meeting with the ASAP Prep, which was really good. Also upcoming meetings with TSO and UMC reps to fill them in on UC Prep and preparing for University Council. speaking of University Council is this Wednesday from 4 to 6. I know we're all busy. If you guys are curious, you could pop in, listen to a few people comment about open expression and see what the university sentiment is. Follow up on ICE resolution, follow up on the international outreach, and exec act provost listening session. Any questions? Okay, thank you all.
Hi, everyone. It's me. Okay, let's see. So introduction, okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Rafa and well, I hope you all know me already, but I'm gonna be your speaker next session. Very excited for that. Woo! I said next session, but it's already this session. But anyways, all right, so very briefly, had a bunch of past meetings about international student stuff. We had International Peer Outreach Group, which was a conference with a lot of faculty and departments on all things international students. So iStar got to present, so Andrew, Ale, and I got to present what the UA did. There's a lot of interest. We talked about how there's increasing international student representation on the resolution, and they're all very excited. And the university is very supportive. We had iStar retreat where we gave ISSS a lot of feedback on how they communicate with international students, how they're being proactive, and I would say they took the feedback pretty well. I think they're also really pushing us to understand that it's a very complicated process, but nonetheless, we should hold them accountable. Had transition with Aiden. We transitioned. It was great. I'm so excited. Okay. So I said this in the email yesterday, but please make sure to join the Slack. This will be our main point of communication. The QR code is right there. And then more importantly, the committee preference form. Okay. Please make sure to fill this out so I can handle and coordinate committees in the summer. If you do not, I will be assigning you a committee, and I will say that it's a lot better for you guys to put your preferences so I don't alphabetically put you in committees. So please make sure to fill that out by May 12th. Other than that, just a few upcoming logistics. I'll be dealing with external seats, like I mentioned, committees, the GPM schedule, everything over the summer. So make sure to keep your eye on the inbox, and I think I'm very, very excited, and I look forward to working with you all. That's all.
Hey guys, I'm Yeldu. Super excited to be your treasurer for this session. During the past meetings, transitioned to the role with Mo, have some with OSA coming up, the Office of Student Affairs, to kind of get everything set up for the next funding cycle and everything in the next few weeks. And I did want to put this out there. Budget committee elections will be in the fall, but if you are interested in the role or potentially running for the role, even if you're on the fence or you just want to learn more about it, please reach out. I'll put my number in the Slack, and just shoot me a text or a Slack message if you're interested in running, and we can talk about that.
Also, shout out joining the funding reform committee if you want to learn more about funding stuff. Sorry.
All right, great. Oh. Yeah, just scroll down. Oh, wait, I can do that. Sorry.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Charmaine and I'm the secretary for this session. Woo, this is a really short contact form that we need for the 54th session. Please fill it out even if you have filled out previous contact forms. Thank you so much, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions.
Wait, Loki, if the cities want to like set up and give like a 10-second.
Great.
intro.
So, update, we actually picked our internal leadership. I hope you saw that email. Does anyone, okay, so the DHTCD, are they, Tommy, do you wanna?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
No.
We're putting you guys on the spot, but it's, that's great.
You can do it from your place, it's easier probably.
Then on the dance.
Hello, everyone. DHT for life. AI.
But I'm Sophie. I'm really excited to work with you guys on AI. Please join.
PES, Khalid.
Name is changed and we're gonna make pen healthy.
Yeah.
Hi, Nina. Feels like a talk show, bro. Yeah. Very excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then comes Nina.
I'm Nina. I'm really excited because it's the second year running the comms committee, so.
All right, so we are now gonna move on to new business. Are there any documents to enact or press statements to consider?
I'm moved to considering voting on UC slate.
Wonderful. Motion to enact the document to approve the
Okay.
UC slate.
Yeah.
Are there any seconds?
Can someone second this?
Second.
All elected members in favor, please raise your hands. All right, we'll now move to approve the UC slate. So now, just to give a brief overview, Mo, who is the EUA NEC observer, is gonna expand on the selection. Wait, first let's give
Yes, I'll
background.
go.
Okay, let's give background on this, but he's gonna give a brief explanation, then we're gonna have a Q&A and vote. So you can have
Yeah.
3 minutes to.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I know we talk a lot about UC. What is that? That is University Council. And that is a forum that is held, I think, once a month, last Wednesday of every month or something like that. Where there are student representatives, graduate student representatives, faculty and staff and admin there. And it's basically meant for us to share feedback on certain topics and for them to listen to us and to give us a response by the next meeting usually. And you might wonder who are the undergraduate reps. So there's the UA president, UA vice president, and UA speaker, and then there's 12 other representatives. And who assigns those? It's the NEC. And so the NEC runs this process where people from certain groups apply to represent that group on the university council. And then they get interviewed and then they have a discussion and then they decide on who the 12 picks are. However, there's always a UA observer who needs to make sure that the process is done fairly in an equitable manner. And I was the person this year. So this is me telling you guys that the NEC did a very good job and a very fair job on approving the UC slate. And the groups represented are Umoja, PIR, Pen for Immigrant Rights, Latinx Coalition, MSA, DISCO, NISC, which is Native and Indigenous Student Coalition, PAGE, APSC, TSO for transfer students, Lambda, ASAP, and AIS. Any questions?
So you'll now have 5 minutes for Q&A.
What do we ask during Q&A?
So
Do you have any questions on what I said or
like basically we're gonna vote on if we think it's fair and representative. So you're just gonna ask him about maybe the process or what he thinks about it, or just get an insight.
Taya?
Well, this is just like, maybe people wanna know like what all the groups that did apply and maybe didn't get to UC this year.
Might be confidential. I think it's confidential. I listed the ones that got it, but I don't know if I could share.
You share how many applied, how many got it, or like,
Percentage.
were there more applicants than spots? Or
There were more applicants than spots.
but not many more.
I maybe. Okay, anyone else? Khalil.
It doesn't seem that's BIR is there, that's nice, but did they accept Penn Wellness Student Council this year or not? No, is it on the list or not? That's the question. I didn't
No,
know.
the 12, Penn Wellness was not on those 12. Alex.
Yeah, I have a question. So,
Yeah.
like, these are like the groups that are gonna be on like university council to be like, in, I guess, like these meetings.
Yeah, like they have a seat and they can give a speech.
So it's like separate from like the NEC ones, because I know they also hold like U-wide applications.
Yeah, UI and University Council are different.
How is the UA observer selected?
I
Or is it
think
like set?
so. Historically, it's been the VP because the VP works mostly with the UC groups and like that's the main focus. Yeah,
Thank you.
Pablo.
What was like the selection process like? Like what were the criteria considered?
Yeah, so basically the person who is applying will give a presentation about their group and why they want to be on UC. Then there was a question and Q and A portion where members of the NEC and I could ask the person questions. And then at the end of all the applicants giving their like speeches or whatever, we had a deliberation process. And for that, a lot of people brought up like the context of like the current events happening. If they've used like their spot to give speeches to demand like admin do something. And not like waste a seat technically. Yeah. Well,
Of these group, how many of them like retained their seat, do you know? Or like, are there any that like?
I mean, I can answer that.
I give 11.
11 out of 12 groups were on it last year and they got it again.
What was the switch?
When?
What was the one?
Yeah.
Penn Wellness Student Coalition was on it last year, it's not on it this year. And
Were they replaced by?
Natives and Indigenous Student Coalition, NISC is our new name. Yeah. Any other questions? Tommy?
What were typically the questions asked to these groups, like their numbers?
Yeah, asking about like how many like constituents they represent on campus, the impact, the scope of impact like they have with their like programming, how they've used their UC seat to reach out to admin, and if they got any results from what they reached out to them about. Yeah, that's about it. Aiden.
How long was it, the whole process?
Like everything.
Like your whole time? Or
It was a
the-
2-day thing. It was like a 6 hours on a Friday and then a 4 or 5 hours on a Saturday. It was
Did they have food?
They
What kind of food did they have?
Chipotle and Shake Shack.
I see.
Can we get that?
Totally.
Do you think that the process was fair slash like not messy or not? Like
Yeah, it was fair. There was nothing that was like Aiden.
Has the UA had longer meetings and not had food at those meetings?
Yes, absolutely. Any other question?
Alright.
Oh, Alex.
Wait, how, like, is there any, well, I guess like since you said it's confidential, there's no way to know like how they like judged like why Penn Wellness wasn't on it, cause I know you said like you and Yusuf are like making it a point to try to like make it more known this year on like wellness, but like it seems like if Penn is like like not Penn, but like this university council is like removing them, it's kind of like saying like, do we care about mental health and like the
Yeah.
well-being of like
I
students?
think like Musa can attest to that, so it's not really confidential, but they also judge like there are some people on NEC who are in the group chats about UC reps. And the Penn Wellness student reps, I don't think they've ever texted in the group chat all year. I think they missed all meetings for UC and I don't think they've given a single speech. So that was the thing that was probably weighed against them.
Yeah, I would also say, this year the focus of UC, we kind of shifted to more like how Penn interacts with the federal government, so more like hot topic issues, right, like ICE, open expression and stuff. So I think like what like the wellness focus isn't like, I don't think as highlighted in UC compared to other groups. I think they'll still be able to be pretty active in other spaces.
I will say we're out of time. Are there any motions to extend Q&A? Okay, seeing as they're not, we're gonna move into voting. So just to explain. Oh yeah, just to explain, so this will be a roll call vote. In this case, I means that you approve and that you believe that the slate is that is conducted in a fair and representative way. Nay means you do not think so. And UC slate will be approved as long as we don't have a 2/3 nay. Okay. Yeah. Musa?
Aye.
Mo?
Aye.
Aye. Yadu?
Aye.
You should say what you put it out.
Oh, aye. Simi?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Point of order.
Emily?
What are we voting
Eddie?
Oh, there's a point of order.
Sorry, what's
on? What
up?
are we voting on?
Oh, we're voting on UC slate, whether we think it's fair and representative, like, do we approve of the NEC selection?
Yeah, did you respond? Oh. Ishmael?
Nay.
Sophie?
Aye.
Dina?
Aye.
Cecilia. Aye. Thais. Khalil.
Aye.
Samia.
Aye.
Elena. Aye.
Alright, so. Okay, great. So this document passes and the UC slate is approved for the next year.
Yeah.
Are there any other documents?
Motion to elapse till September.
Wonderful. Are there any
Second.
seconds? Alright, all elected members in favor? Alright, I'm just do your husband laps.
Okay, before you leave, just stay, I wanna come to our code real quick.
Live stream.
Say view.
Yeah.
No, hey.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Look at this. I don't
I don't know.
Uh,
Sure. Yeah, like-
No, it's on there.